Well, hello, everyone. Today's discussion, building a seven-figure business, is in response to all the female entrepreneurs that have expressed to me the challenges of building a business that's their own. So many of you have reinvented yourself with a business that's unique and near and dear to your heart. And so I wanted to respond with that. And today I'm excited to spend time with Kim Kasparian, who is owner of Success Genie, where for 15 years, she's coached successful business owners and executives to seven figures and beyond. Her bio is actually her drive for this business. And I don't want to take her story away. I would prefer that she share it. So first, welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So let's start first with your story and how did you come across creating Success Genie and where you are today?
Okay. Success Genie, my coaching career has 2 points. I started coaching in 22 years ago. People will relate to this story. I had my own business, accident, illness. I needed to recoup. I took a job, got hired by another company, promised all the great things, and no fault of my own, 7 months, got laid off.
Mm-hmm.
So my journey into this business was always inspired in the back of my head, but it was, I need a paycheck and there is no security working for anyone else.
Yeah.
I learned that. I knew that when I was younger.
Right.
I got seduced into what I call the stupid, but I needed the steady paycheck, and I'm not sorry I did it. But back to the entrepreneurial roots, you always control your own paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Built all my wealth, had a wealth manager, invested it in real estate. Long story short, on our wedding day, my husband and I found out our partner, mentor, broker embezzled all the properties, did horrible things in my name. And I honestly thought I might be going to jail because of what he did.
Unbelievable.
So we start our wedding with zero, no more wealth manager. He's like, honey, I love you, but I only manage wealth and you don't have any. He's like, we got to figure that out. So went through that journey. And the kicker was my coaching baby had to be put down to protect me from all the deficiency judgments and all the things that Jelena, you know very well.
Right.
And Success Genie was born. I had to put it in my husband's name. So my lawyer said to me, I'm newly married. I've been with Angelus for 5 years before, trust him with my life. She goes, do you trust your husband? I said, with my life. He goes, good. All the money that you have left would go there. Your business. I'm like,
it's a bold request.
Well, I was like,
yeah,
I've got to give my whole life over to my husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So let your listeners chew on that. I was Miss Independent, got married later in life for a reason. And yes, my husband, who's brilliant in many ways, but I'm the entrepreneurial leader. And he said, I'm just holding it for you. You're driving it. You get to drive the car. But it was emotional. It was
absolutely.
It was emotional. So 15 years at Success Genie, and the drive, besides the desperation, I just knew I wasn't ever working for anyone else again.
Right.
And then my story was so big, everyone's like, oh, you got to take this on, you got to tell people about the story. Like, and I want to figure out who's going to play me in the movie. I really want to figure out that. I think Antonio Banderas would play my husband.
Yeah. It sounds like an amazing movie.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to play me. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But I had always had a dream of letting people know. I had a personal experience all through my 20s of having my dream, through no fault of my own, ripped away, falling flat. Like, it made hell look like the penthouse, let's just say.
Right.
And through this journey of surrender and just being not happy, but being led where I needed to be, all my dreams in very dramatic, because I am dramatic, but why wouldn't it be dramatic, ways got brought back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I did not have the attitude that I have now. And it just made me realize, like, success never abandons you. Dreams never die. So I really started the drive of my coaching business was that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, how do you get money for that? I cloaked it with my ability to teach company, the sales teams, entrepreneurs, business owners how to triple their sales in 90 days, because that's where I came from. Exactly. I came from sales and marketing since I was 12 years old, and infused this message. And they'd be like, you're more than a sales teacher. I'm like, shh. And behind closed doors, when I got invited into the C-suite, because they saw what I was doing over here, they're like, can you do that over here? We got different issues, but I like your style. These wonderfully educated men and women would try to explain to me their problem, and they would sound like this. Wah, 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 like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there as a new consultant, like, with no PhD credentials next to my name. And I'm like, have you ever heard of a genie? Do your kids ever watch Aladdin? They're like, oh yeah, yeah. I go, well, very conservative, very like, tight-laced. Imagine you're on your vacation with your family and you stumble across a bottle and you rub it and this genie comes out. Okay. Would you be saying that? No. Okay. Do me a favor. Tell me, like, as I'm the genie, like you can, I was like, think of Robin Williams, not Barbara Eden. Let's keep it clean. What do you want? But I'm a genie. They became so crystal clear.
Amazing.
Sharp. So like, oh, we can do that. We can do that. It was tangible. It was heartfelt. It wasn't mumbo jumbo. It wasn't, it was like, what do you call it? Word salad.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I say we can do that, and then we would do that in such quick fashion, more than not, they're like, you really are a genie. Like, it showed up.
Right.
And my message always was in sales, in communication, and whatever, but that's how it's supposed to be. All this doing, and chasing. I said, we were all taught wrong.
Right.
That's what underneath, and I say this for a reason, and you all listen and like, why is she saying this? You will understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because understanding my why and understanding what sells
Mm-hmm.
and having guidance to put it together helped me the first time create an executive income within 90 days because I needed to pay my mortgage by the end of the month that I was laid off. And when I found out I had no more money and I couldn't even make a payment arrangement with the electric company because I didn't know where my money was coming from at any given moment, this same approach allowed me to make 6 figures in 9 months. Because I was already, even despite having all the judgments cleared, financial restructuring,
Right.
I still had my house, my husband, my cats, my car. I still had to be responsible for that. So and I had to do it with a lot of emotions, a lot of stuff coming at me. So it's really important as you're growing a business, and you got to have the why, your passion, the dream that you can't see, but you need to know how to monetize.
It's kind of like marrying the two together.
Yes. And I had a unique gift from a very young age to do that because I was the brat that said, no, I'm not doing that. I want to do it what I want to do. And everyone's like, well, we don't know how you're going to do that. I'm like, watch me. The bonus is now I teach all my clients, they become genies and brats. I give them little certificates. You are certified a genie now. And by the way, here's your brat card. Use it wisely. Go get what you want.
They should have both.
You should have both.
Absolutely.
Every woman should have both.
Well, and it sounds like your genie question really tapped into the emotions. That's ultimately where you were getting them to, if that's fair.
Well, I basically had to explain to this very educated, more educated than I will ever be, CEO, that I said, we're really all 6-year-olds in adult bodies. And we want what we want. And as amazingly articulate as he was being, I basically told him, listen, if I don't give you what you want in the next 30 days, this check is going to dry up and you're not going to want to do it anymore. So can we just cut to the chase? Tell me what you want. Don't tell me what it looks like, because that's why I'm here. You don't know how to do it, but you can have it. You just need to tell me what you want it to look like so I can serve you. And even like the most dominant masculine energy that I've ever had to deal with, that, just was like, this is what I say, so it be so. We're so disarmed by that approach. And I don't know if it's just because no one ever talked to them that way, or because, a woman dared to say blah, blah, blah. But they would open up. Somehow by saying the genie that we're all a bunch of 6-year-olds in adult bodies broke the facade of professionalism.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, everyone wants to feel good.
Mm,
Everyone wants to feel important and like they matter,
absolutely.
that they gave value somewhere.
Right.
And usually when someone like me or other consultants are called in, you name the service, it's because someone or some team is not having that experience. And when we get so focused on the features and the bells and whistles of what we do, and we can do it well and we can serve it well, we all get shocked where the client's not satisfied. It was competent, but they're not satisfied.
Right.
Or because I didn't have credentials and I didn't have a lot of money for starting me, I didn't try to create something new.
Mm-hmm.
I went to them and said, I know you spent like 20, 30,000 on this and no one's using it, right? Right. How'd you know? I'm like, yeah, give it to me.
Right.
Don't pay me for new stuff. Pay me to get them to
Mhm.
get results. Really? Yeah. So sometimes in being in business, it's knowing who you are, where you're starting from, you know where you want to go, and you know there's a gap.
Right.
But serving the market where they are.
Exactly.
Yeah. And sometimes no one's going to tell you, they can just hold the space for you to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Or like me, I was just like, is that what you really want? Like, that doesn't make no sense. Like,
Right.
you pay me a lot of money. And I have an uncanny way of getting people to get out of their own way. But that's what built me.
Okay.
That built my reputation. That opened doors to connections
Right.
that I'd still be knocking on 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm sharing this is a lot of women have these unique capabilities too, and that blow mine away. And they're thinking, oh, I never thought, like, sometimes we don't think all of our skills are monetizable.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
those are the skills that are so monetizable.
That's a great
And
point.
yeah, and if we're looking, and I know in my industry, Julian, you can talk about yours, or if anybody wants to start a conversation. We're having this whole conversation about your job as a coach is not to be the copycat or another version of another coach. It's to bring your own unique. Yes, there are pillars of coaching and consulting and training, and you call yourself any one of those or fiduciary or whatever. There's pillars, but we were never meant to be copycats of each other. So there's a whole conversation in my world about holding the space and training new consultants, new coaches, or business owners in general to follow the basic business principles. Some cannot be broken. Sorry, ladies. Some of them should never be broken, and some of them can be bent. And you can inspire new ways, but it doesn't come from the action,
Yeah,
it comes from inside.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's what I do all the outside stuff. But when I work with clients, they call me the Barbara Walters of coaching, because I always have that question they never expect.
Mhm.
And the waterworks come. I get even like men, like I would never give the names, because what
Yeah.
happens in the executive suite stays sweet, but they cry like babies. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
that's
ooh,
when you've hit the emotional. Yeah,
right. And they're like, I'm so like, don't be embarrassed.
right.
Oh, found your genie now we can play. Like,
Well, well,
you want to make $8 million? Yes, I can
Yeah.
work with him. Like the other one, yeah, you need to have a drink. This guy I can work with. And it just, transformation, the word I'm looking for is transformation.
right, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a tool every business owner needs to have.
And it sounds like, one of the things I was thinking about as we were preparing for this was, okay, what are those unique flaws that you find from these professionals when they come to you? But it sounds like you just hit it on the head. Regardless of the profession, it's really that hesitancy, it sounds like, of their emotions.
They're trying to be something they're not. It depends on the age group.
Okay.
Depends on the gender.
Okay.
Right. So women, we're told to shut up, look good. And if we have a brain where we're aggressive, we're not assertive, we're aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Women in the corporate get talked over.
And we're still talking about this like it was 20 years ago.
Right. Mansplaining.
Yeah.
The wage gap is still there, regardless of anybody's, best efforts. You're taught to be professional.
Mm-hmm.
Men have the same issues, believe it or not. They're taught to keep their emotions to themselves. Men who show the emotions are weak.
Right.
They need to provide.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have all the answers, blah, blah, blah. But when you get them behind a room quietly, and the part of being a leader is, and I know I found that to be true when some of the challenges that I shared, I was a public figure when this was happening. Everyone's like looking, going, is she gonna crack? Is she really? Like, or they're secretly happy? Oh, like good. But where does the teacher or the public person? I really understood how Hollywood, like, they get kind of screwed up because you live in a fishbowl, and like, where do you go to have a bad day?
Absolutely.
So the CEOs, right, or entrepreneurs, and it happens in the smaller entrepreneur world, which I'm seeing, especially with all the social media and everyone putting their best foot forward. And women, everyone judges each other, but especially women. Well, she looks better than me, or she'll look a bit. It's all BS. I don't want to swear on the podcast. I don't know if that's allowed. It's all fake. Right. It's all fake. Even the 7-figure businesses have the worst S show behind the scenes. You would not even recognize what's going on behind there. Right. And everyone's comparing themselves or feeling bad, and no one's embracing their blessings.
Exactly.
And even if you have a mess, get excited. It's the beginning of your success. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
You might not have the infrastructure to transform it, but no one talks about it.
Exactly.
Right. Except in the coaching space, in the confidential space. And what I do is majority of what I do, because if you come to work with someone like me, you know how to do what you do. You don't need me to train you. You already are you. You already know how to do. You don't know how to be. You don't know how to be a leader. You're an entrepreneur who does everything, but you don't know how to be a business owner and grow other things. You are acting like your relationship that maybe is going through a major change doesn't affect your work, but it so does.
Yeah.
Or that you think you can compartmentalize your kid's learning disability, or for me, aging parents that, for all you listening, my dad called me to say, like, you got to do an SOS. I need something really, like 5 minutes before this call. Okay, 5. I'm like, Dad, like 5, like, oh, Dad.
We're multitasking all the time.
Right. Or calling me 4 o'clock in the morning. And the first thing I'm thinking is they're calling me to tell me that he's dead, and then my whole, like, I got to get up and start my day and be all happy.
Right.
And he was just like, I'm having a bad day. I'm like, okay, Dad, I'm here. So, right. And your listeners might have like, oh, Kim, I don't have aging, but I've got a newborn, and oh my God, and I haven't had a shower in a week. And yes, I'm still required to bring home my 6 figures. Where there's no real place, except in my world, and I have really great other coaches who think like me. So we're out there. There's a space, ladies, there's a space where you can show up and be the CEOs, right? The CEOs of your life and your business. And why we all wanted our business, and I hear this a lot, and it's a double-edged sword. Well, I couldn't stay in corporate. It just wasn't, I wanted my life.
Hear it all the time.
I heard it, I was like, and my thing, I left corporate because like now they were messing twice. I left my job that built me back up because I was like, they were breaking promises that my face was on inadvertently, but I couldn't, I'm like, oh no, if my word's on it, it is. And the company that I went to fundamentally changed their whole profile, which is not aligned with me.
Right.
And 10 of us chose our integrity versus our job, and that's fine. But here's the downside when you go off on your own, and I don't think enough people are really talking about the realities. It's kind of like pregnancy. Everyone tells you how wonderful, like no one tells you the downside of pregnancy.
Right.
Like they don't tell you the details about, oh, wait until you experience that. Same thing in business. It's all sexy. Yeah. There is no paid days off. There is no resource team. If you don't do your work, you're not getting paid. And even when you do the work, you still might not get paid.
You still might not get paid. Yeah.
And just because you're talented and beautiful doesn't mean people are going to line up and say, I want to buy from you. And yes, you get to be at the recitals. And yes, you do get to be on the soccer field or whatever, the gymnast arena, whatever. But you need to do the work, and it's usually triple in the beginning
Mhm.
than just clocking in into a job. Not everyone understands that.
Sure. And there's a lack of confidence that comes with that.
Yes, and when maybe things don't happen exactly the way you planned, which
Oh yeah, everyone has a plan.
welcome to entrepreneurship. Rather than reaching out, dropping the facade,
Mhm.
we go inward and we put down, like, I call it the smiley face, the Post-it note with the pink smiley face.
Right.
And we don't say, Houston, we got a problem, because you don't know where to go. You don't want to look unsuccessful.
Mhm.
You don't want to look weak, and you really don't want people to know that you fudged up your finances, and you're not imagining there's a resource affordable enough, so
Yeah.
you suffer in silence.
Yep. Well, and thank you for talking about that, because it's, you talk about the importance of coaches all the time, regardless of what it might be for, right? Whether it's for coaching a business or coaching your health, or I have a coach for my triathlons. It's, you have to find those pockets where you are willing to say, no, I need help, and lean into it.
Yeah. Or you can do it, but you can do it faster with help, or
Sure.
it'll be more. I know for me, I remember when I literally called my 3 amigos. They were older than me, my friends, and they were all entrepreneurial. And I told them the exciting news that the best thing in my life ever happened. And they're like, well, you don't sound happy. You sound like you're crying. I'm like, well, I'm angry right now because I had to drive an hour and a half to be told I have no longer a job. But the good news is I'm never working for anyone else again. They're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So the goal was, I didn't know how it was all going to be. I didn't know the wonderful journey that was before me. I just knew I need to pay my mortgage in 30 days.
Absolutely.
And that's sometimes where we all start. Either we start with a big grandiose why, and we don't realize there's going to be a lot of scud work.
And then you have these short-term financial needs that kind of might compel you forward or might not.
Or you got to do it.
Yeah.
Some of the things, like, I don't know if it's the generation now or just what we're all selling to everybody, that we need to be sexy right out of the gate. We've got to arrive before we even get born. It's not always like that.
Yeah.
So business, I always talk in metaphors to help people make their own choices. Business is like a baby. It's like people say, especially like at my age, like 40s, 50s. Well, I can't see I'm working for anybody. I want a business. I'm like, oh, so we want a baby? No. I'm not. What do you think a business is? The good news is a business baby treated right and allowed to grow properly can support you in about 4 to 5 years, better than your little human ones that are probably still at 30, still launching. But oh no, like, it's a baby. It's a 24-hour labor of love, just like, and it's like you're going to wake up in the middle of the night. You got to be at wherever at 6. And you can't tell that baby, you would never tell your human baby, I'm sorry, I'm too tired to feed you. You'll just have to wait until tonight.
Yeah, exactly. No,
or next week. When people go, I would never do that.
Yeah. Well,
Let's introduce you to your other child. It's called your business. And they're like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Meet business DCYF. I will take the baby and hold it while we get you some training, because you're going to be a beautiful business parent, but hands off the baby.
Right.
Hands off the baby. I got the baby. And it starts a beautiful, transformation. And it gives them permission to say the truth.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
We all want to do that.
Whatever their truth is. And when you have the right coach or whomever you need, knowing that they believe in you and they understand you are not ready to touch that baby the way you're touching that baby, like, just give the baby to me. And you go do what you need to do, knowing the baby will still be here. Or that you get like a mother's helper, like, I don't know what they call them, nurses, sometimes the young, now
like an au pair or something.
Yeah. Or like they have baby nurses, they come home
yeah, yes,
hospital, that's a new thing, right? And it's like, I think that's a great idea. I think not everyone can afford one, but they come with you because to help you get into the routine of being a mom and dad. A really great coach can be that, because they're going to tell you the truth, because they've got no agenda in the game. And sometimes if they can just hold the space for you, right, or just hold whatever, give you the truth, now that you're not spinning in like whatever, you can do the work, and the work isn't always what you think.
Okay. Yep. Fair. And so I love the metaphors.
Okay.
I know you also have a 5-step process.
Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about how,
How do we do it?
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to go like a story, because as if you're listening, you kind of know I'm a storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the exact way I started a business with no money and turned it into an executive income in 90 days. I did it again
Mm-hmm.
in 9 months. And this is how everyone does it. I don't care. Like, this is how you do it. I don't care if you're fully financed or you did what I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the main reason why you're not where you want to be is because you don't have a system to manage your business in your life. I don't care if you're green and growing, you're just ready to break the 6-figure ceiling, or you're at 6 figures stuck on a plateau, you need someone to close the gap safely to transition to 7 figures. There's a story. We don't have time to do it today, but if you want to be a part of my world, there's a story at each level of growth.
Okay.
And right. So the first thing I tell everyone is there's not one step to 7 figures. There's like several.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the intention is to grow to 7 figures. There's a story and transformation at each level.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a benefit and a danger at each level. That's the first thing I need to say to everybody.
Okay.
And so it's not like, oh, you do it once and you're good. And you're like, okay, where are my 7 figures?
Right. Got that down.
Yeah, journey and pivot each time. But the way you manage it is we start with what I call keep success simple.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn to create a success dashboard.
Okay. Right.
And Julina, because you're in business, there's so many details.
Sure.
You chunk it up. You can learn to get an MBA in business if you master 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
You can go down the rabbit hole. I don't care how technical your business is. You master 4 things, you can have anything you want. Success Genie says so.
Okay.
Mindset, marketing, management, money. I can show you how to manage your whole life and business by these 4 quadrants. Okay, if you're like, Kim, can you really do that? Yes, I can.
Mindset, marketing.
I call it the 4M success dashboard.
Yep.
It's a dashboard. Pilots use a dashboard. CEOs use a dashboard.
Right.
No woman should be without a dashboard.
Okay. Love it.
Mindset, marketing, management, money. I could do a life one. I can do a business one. When you're an entrepreneur, we do a blend because there is no separating.
Talked about all the time.
Now, there's steps within the steps, but I'm just saying, you can balance your 5 kids, your husband, your business, your aging parents, and your cranky, cute calico that's 17-year-olds like me. Okay. No, everyone gets served, and you get yourself on the list by having a dashboard.
Right.
Okay. So
sorry. Yeah. What does that mean?
What?
When you say you get yourself on the list, meaning you're actually taking care of yourself too?
Yeah, it's a requirement. Okay. If you're in my world and you think you're going to grow to 6 figures or 7 figures, and you're not going to put yourself first as the queen that you are,
right?
Even though you're a servant queen, I understand. Usually, if you're hearing me, you're a heart-centered entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
You've been called to serve, and that's what you want to do. But some of the conversations we have, I ask them, I said, are we doing a ministry or are we doing a business? I don't care which one are we doing? That usually gets their attention, like, oh. And I'm like, even Jesus, Mohammed, and Buddha took time to rest and replenish. Just saying.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. So it's your mindset. It's your ability to ask and receive. It's your managing and money.
Mm-hmm.
But since we're taking care of everyone anyway, we just dump it all in. We start with a purge on a page, and we have this process, and you can see everything. It's like the all-knowing eye.
Right.
Like, how do you do that? I'm like, my dashboard.
That's great.
So the sound bite is we learn managing a business only works if we learn to keep things simple. So all I'm teaching you, and this all can be put back into 4 things, right? Mindset, marketing, management, money. These 5 steps all live in mindset, marketing, management, money.
Got it. So you're just kind of evolving it.
We live in 4 quadrants. Diamonds are a girl best friend. They're in one of these quadrants. You want to go to a vacation, you want to go put your kids in boarding school, or like you want to get homeschool them, or you want to travel the world with the kids in the back of the bus. Great. Master these 4 things.
Got it.
Okay. This is I can't teach you to twitch your nose, bob your head, flash your hands. Your genie powers lie
Mm-hmm.
in the mastery of mindset, marketing, management, money. I can teach MBA business level business growth by these 4 things.
By these 4 things. Yep.
Okay. This is welcome to the genie world.
Okay.
This is it. Your laundry can fit in one of these 4 things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just saying, keep it simple.
Okay.
Because we try to make things more complicated than we need to be.
Always.
Now so it goes like this, right?
Right.
Then you master that, keep success simple. Okay, I can do it. Now we learn to manage energy instead of time.
Okay.
Your dream is too big for the time continuum, space continuum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your goals are too big for time. And that's why you're stressed out. And that's why you're burning out. And that's why none of the thing's working. And that's why you're screaming at your kids, like, I'm on the phone, I have to do this.
Right.
Okay. If I did not know how to manage energy, I would not have been able to manage my hangry 89-year-old father saying, you got to help me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I would have been like, because he blew up my timeline.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it happens. Managing energy is the foundation of a 6-figure or 7-figure revenue leap that's sustainable.
Okay.
You can be a flash in the
Meaning
pan.
you don't burn out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can do anything once, but can you do it consistently?
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to the 6-figure level or in the middle, this is the downsize, right? You work so hard, you're there. And just when you think you're up the mountain, you get stuck on a plateau and you like, I don't know if I can do this. This is when you start thinking, I got to burn this down because I love the money, but I can't do this anymore. And oh my God. And you start having all these evil
You
thoughts.
think it would get easier over time, but it never feels that way.
Right. Because you've maxed out
Mm-hmm.
of the time, money, infrastructure.
Got it. Yep.
Okay. So
Yeah.
watch what I'm saying. So we start with, you come to me overwhelmed or you come to the situation overwhelmed. I'm like, I'm not putting more on your plate. Don't ask me for more money. You can't handle it. Let's make it simple. Let's get you back in your life and let's manage energy instead of time. So you feel like, oh, I can swim in this. Okay. It's crazy, but I can swim. Now we can talk about what's really wrong. It's not your clients. It's not you. It's not the money. It's not even the cranky calico that you love, but you love. It's the fact that your infrastructure is too small. When you started and you were just a hope, wish, and a prayer, or you started from where you were, you might never imagine you grow so big, or you maxed out before you hit your mark.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that not a lot of coaches are talking about. They're talking about sales, which is important, but if you don't have the infrastructure to expand and or balance the husband, the wife, the cat, the craziness, it doesn't work for you. What you realize, the problem when you get to this point, you're able to see is you think you started a business. Au contraire, mon frère.
Mm-hmm.
You created a job that now feels like a prison, no parole.
Right.
Okay. Or good.
Things all come back full circle then.
Well, you realize you own a job, which is not bad. I mean, I owned a 6-figure job. It was good. I mean, I was working for myself, but it's all on me. There comes a point where you realize that if this is to be, it can't be all on me. This is an emotional journey. It's not just a business talk. It's an emotional journey. 15 years ago or 17 years ago, no one was taking my baby from me. Oh no, I don't need help.
Right.
I don't need help. And then when the embezzlement happened, no one touched the baby. Only I could touch the baby.
Of course.
I don't even know if the baby's going to make it. Just leave the baby alone. But then I hit a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
And life showed it to me in very dramatic ways, which we don't have time to talk about. But I needed to ask for help. And I was like, but I don't trust anybody. You know, even my hubby. Right. I love you. I trust you, but not can you, and it, so there was a process, and everyone who knew me and loved me knew I had to feel safe. And I had to feel secure, and everyone had to show up and prove to me that they weren't going to drop this.
So how do you overcome that plateau? I think that's something that so many.
Well, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
You gotta, if you're stuck on a plateau and you're listening to the noise, you're trying to do more things that like God wouldn't have time for. You got to strip it down. The mindset, marketing, management, money.
Okay.
Because
just bring it right back.
You got to bring it back because, and Julie, we can have this conversation. Everyone's talking about their fancy funnel or their market, or they got to do that. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And remember, most people come to me not with the business background that I have.
Mhm.
How do you teach business to people who might not have the same business acumen you and I have,
Right.
but they've started a business because they've been inspired or they're called to serve? MBA in a box: mindset, marketing, management, money.
Okay.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Learn to manage energy instead of time.
Yep. Okay.
Learn to create. Now, here's the business thing. How do you get off the plateau? You need to create an infrastructure that can create cash flow on command. And it needs to be able to be scaled when ready to make money without you. This is your wheelhouse, Julina. Okay, right? What are we always talking about? Passive income, right? And no one knows how to get it. Infrastructure is how you get it.
Mhm.
We could have a whole talk just about that. And
Right.
if you want to stay, like Kim, I don't know if I ever want to expand, and that's okay. You can be a very successful me, myself, and I company, but understand you may never get past 300,000, 500,000 doing it yourself. However, and I highly recommend, if you're in business, you get a financial planner that you love. Hint, 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 hint.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they will help you with the mindset about your money,
Mhm.
and they will have infrastructure discussions. And when you're like in my world, we invite you to pick one, right?
Mhm.
And we always introduce who we love and trust. They are part of the business conversation, helping you work with the money you have, enjoy the money you have. But
Right.
if you truly want to stay, me, myself, and I, how are you growing your money beyond yourself? That is the financial planner's wheelhouse. I
Mhm.
might have suggestions, but I always go to the person in the know, right? In this conversation would be our wonderful Julina. And she would take some of that money and say, listen, well, you're busy generating the cash flow. I'm going to make some money grow. So when you're ready and you want to retire, you want to invest capital, you always have it. And that's the brat in me.
Mhm.
You get to do it your way. It's Burger King.
Right.
All right.
Well, and I think I'll just make one quick comment as an advisor, especially with entrepreneurs. There's, you hit it on the head earlier. It's hard to break away the personal and the business. And so a lot of entrepreneurs that we talk to, they don't want to think about their future, i.e. their retirement, because they're so focused on the now.
Well, and I'm going to say something about that, but yeah, so sorry, not sorry.
Mhm.
If you're in business for yourself and you call yourself a business owner, it's all about your retirement and it's about your quality of life. Otherwise, you're owning a job, and a job has a 401k. You need to get a SEP. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be giving financial advice on a podcast, but I'm just saying there is
Right.
no, I don't want to deal with my retirement. That's our job as adults. And
Absolutely.
your business is a vehicle for your dream.
Yeah.
Your business is your vehicle for a dream. I don't know what your dream is. Like you want to talk to me about your dream, you can talk to me about a dream, but you have a dream. But here's where I'm going. So but you can I want a team. This is the steps. Until you keep it simple, no one's just jumping into your chaos. Until you can learn to manage energy instead of time, they're going to stress you out and they're not going to give you what you want because they're having the same problem too. So you have to teach them a new way. You need an infrastructure that can create cash flow on day one and expand and grow. Why? Because you want a team. Well, someone's got to pay the team and you need cash flow. And that's the biggest thing. I want a team, but I don't know if I can afford it. Well, if you have infrastructure and you can cash flow anytime you want, like a genie, and even when you're not there, it's running for you. Now we're starting to live the dream, but we need a team. But there's a middle step. The fifth step is hire a team that you can trust. But here's the middle. No one wants to talk about the middle. Everything's in your head. Everything's in your head. So you need to simplify and stabilize, right? Stabilize because you need for you. Otherwise, you got your employees are more kids, and you're like, I can't even get a shower. How am I going to get 5 kids in my bathroom?
Right.
Just saying. And you systematize. So immediately you can do what you always did in less time and either get your life back or get more productivity. That gives you the bridge to delegate. Or you're like, I just love having my life back. I can do this with someone like a Jolena. I'm cash flowing now and I want to do what I want to do. And I like me, myself, and I'm like, let her manage whatever she needs to manage. And or step into your CEO status and learn to hire the right team you can trust to deal with the day-to-day so you can go away and play anytime you want, because that is the universal dream.
Well, and I think it's interesting. Your conversations are so similar to the ones we have with clients where trying to help them. All right, you want to plan for retirement. The earlier you start, the better. Even the small incremental, you know, contributions to your IRA or to your SEP IRA
For the
become so powerful over 20
well,
years.
compound, and but here's the truth, Julian. This is one of the things that I have with my financial planners all the time. Most entrepreneurs these days are not always a 20-year-old. Like if I could tell my 20-year-old self, I would totally do what my grandfather told me. I didn't listen. I would totally tell
Right.
my younger self to do what you said. That's the easiest way.
Right.
To never worry.
Mm-hmm.
If you come to a business in your 30s and your 40s and you have kids and you have things,
Which I think is one of the growing.
but it doesn't compute. So here's what I want to
Yeah.
say is it is totally okay for you to invest in yourself. I firmly believe that I am the best investment I will ever make in myself. And I'll bank me. When I started my business, I wanted to take a equity line on my mortgage, but I didn't have a job, so they wouldn't give it to me. I'm like, I believe in me. Like, we don't want to take your home. I'm like, I don't want you to take my home. That's why I'm giving you my home, because I know I could bankroll.
I know I can get, yeah.
Right. But I digress.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
But here's the deal. You need to work with a financial planner who teaches you a little bit of like, you got to give me something, but we got to create money to reinvest. This is one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs think. I'll say it nicely. I would say it in much more vulgar, violent language. They poach the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take a paycheck,
right?
But then they take too much out of the money. They take too much money out of the business too soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And there's a thing like, if you touched a child in that way, you'd go to jail for a long time. But we think it's okay to just take things out of the baby that shouldn't be out of the baby yet.
Right.
But not taking a paycheck doesn't work either. So there's a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely.
In the coaching space with a qualified financial planner, because I'll be the first one to tell you, before I have you put money in the stock market, I'd say, let's put money into your business that generates a return, that gives you the lifestyle you love and brings money that funnels. And I'm not qualified to have these conversations, so just take the story. And with a qualified expert, they're giving you money to live the life you want now, but it's a management issue. So
absolutely,
quadrants, mindset about money is going to make you or break you. But your marketing about money, your ability to ask and receive money needs to happen. How to manage the money.
Absolutely.
And you need to know how much money you really need. Most people only think about their personal paycheck. And that's why, Julina, they don't have money for the IRA, for the SEP, for the emergency fund, because they're only thinking, not even their whole life. Like most clients come to me who make a lot of money. They already come to me making a lot of money. I'm like, where's the vacation? Well, I don't know if I can afford it. I'm like, everyone deserves a vacation. I don't care if it's in your backyard.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the shoot fund? I don't.
Absolutely.
Right? And about, well, why? Funny story. My client who makes a lot of money, his wife was having to go into the garage to use the refrigerator because they're a Sub-Zero, fitted thing didn't work. And I'm like, why is your wonderful wife going into the garage? Well, I haven't, I don't think I can afford, right? I'm like, okay. So we had a discussion about, and he was making money, but he was still holding,
absolutely.
Tripled. And I don't know if I'm ready yet. I'm like, you go talk to that financial planner. And if I don't see that she has gone to wherever you go to buy whatever she wants, because I said, you don't know what that refrigerator in the garage is costing you.
Absolutely.
And this business.
You have to get into the emotions a little bit. You have to figure out what their desired outcomes are. What is it they want to achieve, and then just make sure they get there. But if you don't know and they're not thinking about it,
they don't, and it's not that he's the greatest guy in the world.
Sometimes they don't realize what.
He had no idea, right? Like I'm saying, do you understand the message that you're telling the love of your life? He's like, no, I'm just trying to make sure that they all get to school. And I'm like, and I told him part of his business conversation was have a conversation with your wife over a meal about how she really feels about having to walk into the garage. And he was like, we are going to get, right? He's like, yeah, we are going to get, it's arriving on. I'm like, now I told him that for a lot of reasons. but that was part. I said, you want to get to 7 figures like in the next, yeah.
Sometimes these silly stories are,
Go buy that refrigerator. And he's like, oh, that refrigerator is like helping. So I'm like, I know.
right.
Because it's never just about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the lifestyle you're living. And too many times we think we have to wait to live until we arrive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. No, thank you for sharing this story. Would love to know kind of where you are right now. You mentioned that you're working on some things given the environment that we're in. I think you went out and surveyed a bunch of your clients. Can you share what you're working on?
Sure. I create an online community where business owners come to network, and it's like just how I keep everyone organized, like through COVID and through my trials and tribulations. And I do a lot of outreach saying, what's going on? How are you? Do you need me? Do you need a financial planner? Do you need an exorcist? I got one on speed dial, no problem. Do you need a hairdresser? What do you need?
Right.
And hearing stories about everyone's excited. I told you we started this conversation that everyone's like, great, everyone's busy, everyone's looking good, you're all looking slick on social media. But behind the scenes, they have no clients. Even if they've been making 6 figures, they fell into a slump. They were so busy, focused on client delivery. Like Kim, I focused on client delivery so long, I forgot to fill the pipeline.
Right. And these are still very interesting times.
And right. I have a client who was my client before COVID, and then she graduated, and then COVID happened, entertainment company.
Yeah.
She made like no money in 2019 or whatever, came to me in 2020. We made money back. And like 2021, she like made more money than she ever did, working a lot less. But she lost her business like in a day.
Right.
March 2020, that was what it was. So we're living in interesting times. So I'm saying like, okay, like no one understands like me, my story. Well, what are you doing about it? Well, I'm working on a Facebook page, or I'm working on this big offer, or I'm focused, like I'm on the sales page. And I'm like, okay, but like, you got bank? No. Like, I'm really stressing about this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like,
there's something going on here.
Well, I'm just like, enlighten me. How does this work?
Mm-hmm.
Mindset, tell me, like, mindset's to the left, marketing's nowhere to be found, management's all over the place because you're like not managing your fear.
Mm-hmm.
And money is like who, where, what happened?
Right.
So I was like, basically I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, well, what do you really like? What do you want? Like, pretty woman, what's your dream? What's your dream? And she told me, and and she's like, I've done it before and I want to do it again. She's a songwriter, and she's actually a Grammy winning songwriter who hasn't done that in a long time. And she's like, I want to go back to LA and I want to be in that world again. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, and she's giving me all the things that have to happen in order for her to partake. And she's like, it's like, I gotta go do this. I'm like, okay. I said, well, guess what, girlfriend? Because my community becomes my friends. They're just not clients or graduates. Like, I put legs on dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, ooh, I like that. I go, I'm keeping it. I said,
I love it.
Well, she's a songwriter. I'm like, write a song about it, but it's mine, right?
Right.
I put legs on dreams. And I said, and she just started crying. She's like, I didn't even know I had this dream still. And I'm like, that dream is possible, but not this way.
Mm-hmm.
So she started it. I'm like, can I put y'all, do I have permission like to invite y'all to a room and we can have an honest conversation? And I'm not, obviously they're not ready for my formal program. They're just not there yet, but they're in it to win it. And I'm like, I can put legs on a dream. I can teach you how to do that in 6 weeks. You could be like building legs. And basically it's a mindset, it's an offer, and it's like a strategy, right? It's a whole, I can teach. And she's like, I like that.
So is it almost like a baby step to the
it's
larger...
a baby step. She, like me, she's invested hundreds of thousands of coaching on herself, and she's not afraid to invest. I said, no. So I'm not going to teach you how to do you. You know how to do what you do. She teaches what she teaches really well. If you need what she does, she's worth the check.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you keep on focusing on the business, and the business is not your dream. She's like, exactly. Mm-hmm. You started this business because you had a bigger why. And she's like, you just connected me to my why. And I didn't even know I still desired that why. I said, well, The why is what's going to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, like we're going, I think it feels like, Julian, you're allowing me to go full circle, is the CEO was being so professional and proper and trying to teach me about, illuminate on the nuts and bolts that weren't aligning the way he wanted. And I was able to break through with my quirkiness and be like, well, why is that so important to you?
Right. And just
And then-
making that connectivity that you just mentioned.
Because that why, and I always say that why that makes you cry,
Mm-hmm.
what's going to make the business fly.
Right.
And it's what needs to be worked on and massaged. And whether it's a conversation with you, a conversation with me, conversation with my friend who is really is a bona fide Vatican approved exorcist,
Mhm.
you know, whatever. Hey, sometimes we need the big guys. It helps you figure it out, you know, and sometimes when you're so much in a mess, you can't see the success.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset, marketing, management, money, knowing how to master that and align it in the right recipe
Okay. Yeah.
to what your why is and what you want to get out of this whole thing called your business.
Right.
It keeps it simple. It
Mhm.
allows you to transition from time into energy management. It makes the impossible possible and shows you right now, even where you are, hot mess, how to expand the infrastructure so you can create cash flow right now, that you don't go off and react to it. You work with a wonderful financial planner to help you make the right investments,
Mhm.
however they need to be, and systematize to make things work for you. So if you need to or desire to, you can hire a team that makes you more money than you ever made by yourself. And it gives you the freedom.
Mhm.
We all came into this business of our choice with, you know, visions of freedom and flexibility.
Right.
And the ability to do what we want, how we want, for whom we want. And there are things you still want to do. You might want to homeschool your children. You might want to travel the world before you get too old to be able to enjoy it.
Right.
You might want to move to another state. You might want to just go visit your family more.
Mhm.
You know, you might just want to buy that piece of jewelry that's been calling to you every time you walk down Main Street.
Right.
You know, or you want to, or let's be honest, maybe you're outgrowing your relationship and the only reason why you're not leaving is finances.
Mhm. Right.
If you learn how to do this business that feels like a albatross can be your vehicle, right? Your bottle to do all of that. But you need a system. So I just share with you mine.
No, absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing it, because, you know, I think all entrepreneurs start with one intent, right? That we talked about, which is having all that freedom, that flexibility. You just need to make sure that you create that balance so that it doesn't inverse on you.
Yes.
That's
and
my best.
will,
That's my
yeah.
best attempt to summarize what you went through. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And Kim, I love your passion for the business. I have been involved in one of your group events, and everyone is fantastic, and you are definitely loved by everyone. And I would say your comment of they're all my friends, I would agree.
They are. And my clients become even though most of them are older than me, they're my kids.
Yeah.
and they call home every once in a while just to let me know how life is, you know, how success is going. But yeah, the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is it's a tribe.
Right.
Wherever you go, no matter what
Absolutely.
business you're in, it's like you just look in the eyes of an entrepreneur and it's just like, I see you.
Absolutely.
You know,
and
yeah.
I think so much of what you said hit home for me, and I know so many others that are listening. So I definitely value your insight into that. Last question is, if people do want to learn more, how do they find you?
There's a couple ways to reach out depending on how you are. If you're old school, telephone works. 203-258-0660. The website is www.successgenie.com. There's free stuff, right? You always have free lead magnets and quizzes and things to help you get oriented.
Yep.
And
Great.
that's another way to me. Like you might be ready to speak to me, but you want to lurk. You want to sample. There's samples.
Lurkers are welcome.
Yep. And if you're LinkedIn, the LinkedIn moniker Kim Kasparian, you know,
Mhm.
whatever the root, I'm just known as Kim Kasparian on LinkedIn. And my living room, my room where you can be where Julina is and comes and everyone networks and gets to know each other. It's kind of like Cheers. Everyone knows your name. You're having a bad day, come on in, we'll serve you. It's a Facebook group. It's free. Just answer 3 questions. So I make sure you know you're human and not a bot. And the URL that I created for that is business owners growing to 7 figures. Business owners growing to 7 is spelt out 7
Got it.
figures.com. And that'll take you to the Facebook group. So if you have a Facebook platform account,
You can request.
right, you go to my website and both you end up could be on my list, but so that is a back end way into my list, or you can go to the website and be like, I want to be on, I want your stuff, Kim. I want your free stuff. I want you to talk to me. I want to lurk. I want to I want to be, you can be on my list.
Great.
And that's a whole other marketing conversation. You need to own platforms are great. You should be anywhere you want to be. Your marketing power and your money power is owning your list. So you're welcome to be on my list.
Great. Kim, thank you again for all of the insight. I really appreciate it.
Honor to be invited.